Hey y'all, welcome to the T-Work podcast, hosted by Grant Banko and me, Adam Moreau. From entrepreneurs and athletes to the rat racers of corporate America and those who refuse to be put in a box, we want to share their stories and understand how they ended up where they are. Success and development come in many shapes and sizes. We want to hear about it all. So grab a drink and pull up a seat. Let's spill some tea and get to
Welcome back to the T Work podcast. Today we have a special guest. As you know, Adam and I are both very big dog lovers, and we try to bring on dogs at all times, any subject, any person that we have on the podcast. And today we have a very special guest. So the co-founder of Service Dogs Saving Lives, Paul Johnson, is joining us today. I want him to tell his background, give his story. So with that, I'm going to pass it to you, Paul. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Adam and Grant, for having us. We really appreciate it. We Our nonprofit is called Service Dogs Saving Lives, and it's a dedication to Joseph Johnson. And I first realized what a service dog could do back in 2010 when I was volunteering for Salute Military Golf Association, which was a organization that helped veterans from Walter Reed Hospital to come out to a golf facility actually in Maryland at the time. We would help train them how to play golf with all their mental and physical injuries or issues, and we helped them relax a little bit. And some of them brought service dogs with them. So that was my first encounter of what a service dog could do to help someone in need with mental health, PTSD issues. And it was amazing to see the companionship that developed between the veteran and the service dog, and how the service dog, when the veteran would get nervous or anxious, how the service dog would come up close to them, nudge them, make the veteran, pet them, try to relax them. The dog could sense that the veteran was in need of help. So I did that for several years. And then in 2015, unfortunately, we lost our own son, Joseph, to suicide. So it took us, you never get over it, but it took us over 5 years to find a way to help others and give others hope. And with a lot of research, we found that service dogs can make a huge difference in a person's life and can actually be a tool to help them save their life. So we researched it further. We found two partner organizations that we partnered with that would help us with our specialized mission, which is helping veterans and first responders with prior self-harming tendencies. So that's how we started, and we've been raising funds to give these service dogs away to the veteran or first responder in need. And we feel that they've given a lot for their country and their community, and they deserve help. So both our partner organizations have never lost a veteran or a first responder to suicide since they received a dog.
That's
And what
incredible.
are what are those partner organizations that you work with?
Sure. So one is called Dogs Inc. The other one is Valor Service Dogs. Currently, they're both in Florida, but the reason we chose them is two reasons or three reasons. One, that they would support our specialized mission, and it's not something they go after. They help veterans and first responders, but not all drill down to our specific need, which is prior self-harming tendencies. So they agreed with our mission. They supported our mission. The other reason we chose them is they can place these service dogs in all 50 states. So people can apply on our website, which is SDSL They can apply there. It goes to the different partner organizations, depending on if they're a veteran or first responder. And then they go through a interview process, and then if they're accepted, they get matched with a service dog. and see how that goes. And if everything goes well, they have a 2-week training program, which we pay for also. Each service dog costs 25,000 plus, and that includes the training of the service dog and also training of the recipient with the service dog. So we're busy raising money all the time, and we've had a lot of good reaction from the recipients we've already placed dogs with. We have videos of them stating how it saved their life, it's helped their family, it's allowed them to go out in the community now because they didn't like to be around the crowds. They didn't want to be in awkward situations, and the service dog really changed their life.
It's amazing how just a little companionship can change the outlook. This isn't something that I can sympathize with. I'm not connected to the situation. I'm just a lover of dogs. I can empathize with it. Of course, I recognize how hard these situations can be, but I've never gone through it. I don't necessarily know someone or have been impacted that closely. So I just want to share my flowers to you, give my flowers to you in the group that you're working with. And if everybody's cool with it, now that we have a really solid background, I'd like to take all the steps back so we can kind of pave the path to how we got to this point. So obviously, Paul, you have a passion for helping others. You talked about the dedication to your son, and there already have been a couple references to military and first responders. So do you yourself have a background in either of those fields?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, my father was in the Army. Did not go through the military services, but my father was in the Army. My uncles have been in the Army. Our son was in cyber security, and he worked a lot with first responders and did a lot of charity events with them. And our research showed, Adam, that well, first, 49,000 people in the United States alone die by suicide. That's 130 a day, and over 17 plus are veterans, and 20 plus first responders die each month by suicide. More officers die by their own gun than in the line of duty. So that's our connection, both from my early volunteer work with Salute Military Golf Association in Maryland, seeing the veterans and first responders. I grew up in the DC, Maryland area. There's a lot of military there. It was just something we had a passion for, and the big need was in that area. So that's why we focused on those two areas. We're going to do others also, uh, but we have to find the right partner to do that because we're not mental health professionals. That's why we use the two organizations we use now because they have the training. Actually, one of them that does the interviewing was at Walter Reed, you know, by chance, where I first learned about this. So we're trying to find another partner organization that can do others because the other prong of our mission is education and trying to stop the stigma of mental health issues. So my wife Linda, along with Onondaga High School in New York, did a curriculum for high school students for mental health, and they've taught it there, and we've also taught it here in Sarasota at Sarasota Military High School and Sarasota Military Academy, it's called. And so we feel it's so important to let young people know that there's hope out there and that you should get involved in your community. You should go out and talk to veterans and first responders and build up a connection with them and see what they do. They're in the community all the time. So it's been very impactful. We're going to spread out and do more of that. I'm going to throw out a statistics that is shocking. So ages 10 to 14, suicide is the second leading cause of death for 10 to 14-year-olds. So, we're really busy trying to raise funds because our need is large and we want to affect as many people as we can.
That's incredible, Paul. I think what you're doing is very impactful, and I think the more people talk about and learn about mental health, I think it'll help a lot of people because just thinking about growing up when I did and going through school, it really wasn't. I mean, it was kind of talked about, but there was no real education about it. It was sort of figured out, and you're a teenager. You're just this is what being a teenager is. So it's incredible that you guys are doing this. I am curious, initially getting into volunteering back in 2010, not everyone volunteering isn't for everyone. Not everyone goes out and uses their extra time to help other people, volunteer, donate, etc. Like what drove you to initially get into volunteering and helping others?
Yeah. So I'm one of seven children, and all of us have tried to help in some way other people. My father was a good example of that, going out and helping the community. Um, he was a CYO coach, which is Catholic Youth Organization coach, and did St. Vincent de Paul, helping poor people. So there's always something that we thought about. And I also, the co-founder of where I went was Jim Estes, and he was a professional golfer on the PGA Tour. And I was taking lessons from him, and I said, what's going on? I see these signs out here, salute Military Golf Association. What are you doing? And he told me, and I said, look, I'm all in. I want to come help every Saturday. It was so that's how I got started. And then, when you see veterans that have lost limbs and you can see mentally that they're suffering, it just it makes you want to help people. So that's how I got started. Then, like I said, unfortunately, we lost our own son, and we wanted to give hope to other people, and we didn't want other people to feel the pain that my wife and I and our family felt by losing a loved one, especially a son. It's not supposed to work that way. They're not supposed to go before you. So I said, I got to do something. So that's why we formed our Service Dog Saving Lives. We're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit. We do, events. We do Veterans Day parades. We do Memorial Day parades. We have a fundraiser at Stony Brook Golf and Country Club in Sarasota every year to raise funds. We're doing a promotion in September. So I appreciate you all having me on now because September is Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. So we have a lot of social media going on about that and how people can help volunteer or donate to Service Dog Saving Lives, so we can save more people's lives. But yeah, that's a good question. That you know I could play more golf, or I could try to help save a life. You know what I mean? So uh,
Or
right
do a little
now,
bit
it's
of
going to
both?
Yeah,
yeah, a
or
little
do
bit of
both.
both. Right? Yeah, exactly. So
Well,
I know you all are
before
busy and you all do neat things too. So
yeah,
yeah.
before I know Adam has a question. When is that Stony Brook golf tournament? Because I'm in the Tampa area, so when is that annual golf tournament? Just for my information.
Yeah, so we hold it in January. It should be on January 24th, 2026, but it's at the country club, but it's not actually a golf tournament because they're so overloaded with golf tournament. So it's a dinner dance, and we have a guest speaker that comes with their service dog to talk about how the service dog has changed their life. We have a silent auctions. We're always looking for sponsors. Uh, it's a beautiful evening. Yeah, we just did a smaller event in Delaware, at Lewis, Delaware. It was a community event, and we had a police officer named TJ Webb, who was our guest speaker, and he was shot 6 times and survived. And he was in the K9 unit of Lewis Police Department, or Milton, I think, actually. And he was our guest speaker, and he talked about, our organization, and he's a dog lover too, and how service dogs can save lives. But the January event is in Sarasota, dinner dance, silent auction, guest speaker. I'll have you out anytime you want to play Grant golf at Stony Brook or any place.
No, I mean, my dad will probably, I mean, I'm surprised you have not met my father playing golf with Ray, because my dad golfs a lot. I know he hasn't been to Mission Valley in a while, so, but my dad plays with Ray quite a bit as well. So, we
Oh,
will
good.
probably play at some point.
Oh, we'll make it a foursome. Sounds awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Look
love
at you
to.
playing golf, Banko. Who would have thought?
I know.
Yes. So, Paul,
Golf helped save my life. Actually, it helped after we lost our son. Golf was a real lifesaver for me. So it's a good sport.
well, Paul, this isn't the most exciting segue, but that does actually help provide a little bit of a segue to my question. Um, I know it's always hard to word these kind of tough topics, so feel free to tell me if I'm off base, even for progressing with this question. You mentioned Joseph's passing in 2015, and then you and your wife taking about 5 years to really think of what you can do to make a difference. Was it just one day you woke up and said, I can do this, I have an idea, I'm going to go about this? Or were you kind of taking baby steps in the process? I'd love to know what that grieving process looked like for you, and then ultimately what inspired you to get out there with Service Dog Saving Lives.
Yeah. It's hard to explain to people what that pain feels like, but so it was recommended to us to get uh, counseling, because what happens a lot of times is that the family break up because one person blames the other person, or the tension is so strong, or you're depressed or whatever. So we did that. We met, sort of a funny story, but not really. We met with someone that was recommended to us as a counselor. We went in. This was soon after, maybe 6 months after we lost our son, and we both did it together. We both there. We were talking to the counselor. We told her our story, and she starts crying. And it's like, okay, I don't think this is going to work so well for us, because she was so upset of the story of losing a child and why and how long it took. And so we asked a lot of people for someone else, and we actually found an older gentleman that Linda and I went to separately to talk about the grief and losing a loved one, and what does that look like down the road, and how do you come out of it. And for your viewers, you don't really ever come out of it, you deal with it. So, and our part of our reason of starting a nonprofit is dealing with it, because we feel that we're helping others. Um, so I recommend counseling. Um, we both went for at least a year. We also joined different organizations to help you get together with a group of other people who have lost a loved one. And we did that for a long time. Linda actually still does a Zoom meeting. This was in Maryland at the time. Linda still talks to the group in a Zoom meeting even today, 10 years later. Um, so that was helpful. So how did we get there? So we knew that we were both still working then, but I retired a year before Linda. Linda was taught high school for 30 years. So we said, how are we going to do this? So we can't afford to put a wing on a hospital. It's not who we are. We don't have that kind of influence. Um, I wanted to try to do something in high schools where there was a counselor there that would work with people that were struggling with mental health. And we said, oh, that's not going to work strong enough. And then as we did our research, we found that the big need was for veterans and first responders and our connections that I spoke about earlier. And that's when we started doing research and talking to different people about how to do this. We actually formed the nonprofit in the fall of 2022. And, it's a lot of paperwork with the government, the 501c3. We want to be legit, insurance and all that. So we didn't really start raising money to 2023. And that's a whole nother ball game. Someone mentioned, well, what are your mistakes? So here's another funny story. So we had to get together for about 60 people. We told them our name of our organization and what we do. And we fed them dessert. We had a PowerPoint presentation, which was pretty good for us because that's not what we do. And so at the end, everyone's coming up to us and they're handing us checks, right? We don't have an envelope to put the checks in. We don't have a money bag to put the checks in. Linda's stuffing them in her pocket. I'm putting. So it's like, we really weren't prepared for people to donate right there. And so that was like, okay, well, we need to be a little more thoughtful of how we're going to handle the money. And now we have a Square, we have donation online. And so we had to we had a web page then, but it took us, what it's like. It takes 8, 9 months to develop a good web page and get all the credit card stuff set up. But we felt that we could reach the community and we could reach nationally from our web page and things like we're doing with you today, people in different states. And we wanted to be able to place dogs in any state where the need was. So we just recently funded a dog for a lady that was a veteran for 19 years, and she lives in Michigan. So a lot of the dogs are here in Sarasota area, Newport, Northport, but we can place them anywhere, wherever the need is.
I want to commend you, Paul, for being open to share some of your experience with your son and then how that eventually led to the organization coming about. And I think it's kind of important to point out that it wasn't just oh, I found a counselor and that one counselor was the person. We needed to find another person. So that I think a lot of people need to hear that. They think that, oh, just any person or anybody can help me. It's no, what works best for you and your situation, and being open to make changes when you feel necessary. I think that's a good perspective to give. I want to go back to the education piece that you guys are working on with mental health and in the school systems, something that I think is very necessary for people growing up in the schools and the current. I mean, even now with how open the world is with social media, there is somewhat no escaping um, peers, where before the internet you could just go home and turn off it, close your door, and you were alone by yourself. Now you have your phone and everyone has access to you to some capacity. I'm interested to hear what that mental health education looks like. What are you guys teaching, or what details you could share about what that looks like?
Right. So Linda does most of that. That's my wife because of her teaching background. But what it is that we go in the classroom and there's, a half a dozen points that we're trying to get across. And one is that we don't want children or high school kids to feel that they can't express themselves in any setting. If they have a problem, they need to reach out for help. We also talk about self-care, how to take care of yourself, exercise, fitness, volunteering in the community, join an organization in your high school. We talk about what a service dog can do when you need serious help and how a service dog can change your life. And we show videos of what a service dog can do. The ones that we find can do 20 to 30 different commands, from picking up keys off the floor to opening doors to interrupting an episode. So that's part of what we do. We bring in, when we can, we bring in a service dog to show them what a service dog can do. We've got pictures on our website of a high school where the kids they love dogs, they're hugging dog when it comes in. You can see how relaxed their face is when they start petting the dog. It's very life changing. So we don't want the high school kids, to be afraid of talking about mental health issues. Uh, we want them to talk to their friends about it. We also have them write stories about how they're feeling now, do a journal and talk about, it's all private. So talk about how they're feeling now and how a service dog, we give them a survey at the end of how the program went, what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, what we could do different to make it stronger. How much did they learn about what a service dog can do in this situation when they need help? So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get into more high schools now, and it's been well received. We're very happy about it. We feel if we can help people at that age, that was our goal, because our son Joseph had some signs early on of mental health issues, but he got a double degree from college and he had a job in cybersecurity, so he was working, but that doesn't mean everything's okay just because you're out there working every day. So that's what we're trying to get across, that you may feel great today, but tomorrow may not be so great. But here's some tools that you can use to get to a better place, right away. So I think it's important. A service dog is one tool in the toolbox that we talk about that will help change your attitude and help save your life. And that's what we try to get across.
I have a question about a hurdle that maybe you didn't expect to ever have to navigate, but my wife works in the mental health field, so I hear this from her a good bit, and some of it is this allure with people trying to bring their dogs everywhere and getting animals that aren't qualified to be service animals or emotional support animals that actually provide a service just because somebody wants their dog or their pet with them. So, how much has that been a struggle for you guys, whether it's from an image standpoint, from an education standpoint, or really just with your mission? Because obviously, you guys are putting in so much effort, not only blood, sweat, and tears, but financially to ensure that you are doing everything in your power to have the most qualified and capable animal and individual for a successful situation versus the Tom, Dick, and Harry that goes online and buys the whatever $200 certificate to slap an ESA tag on their dog.
Right, right. So that is a hurdle. And one of our missions is that's why we have these very good organizations that we partner with, because they follow up on when they finally we match the dog with the recipient. They follow up, they check on and make sure that the dogs are taken care of. So yes, that's an issue. We do educate people. It's on our webpage, actually, the difference between a highly trained service dog and emotional support dog. We've had people run into that have a vest on a dog that they bought online that says service dog. And, the ones that we use are Labradors. and they were breed specifically for being able to handle all these different tasks. So there's other service dogs out there, but the ones that we found are most successful are Labradors. Um, so it is an issue. We try to educate people all the time about the differences, and it is frustrating when you see other people passing off a dog. It's really a pet as a service dog. So yeah, we try to educate them. It's on our webpage, the difference. We bring it up. It's hard to get across. It takes multiple times of conversation, but we have a patch that we put on the vest that says service dog saving lives. And so that's the best we can do to try to get the word out. But you're right, there's a huge difference. 20, 30 commands. Some dogs are raised to, retrieve medicine out of the refrigerator, open doors. One of the dogs that we funded helps a veteran with stability. So they're trained to help brace the recipient so they can get up and down. So yeah, it's a big difference. It's a huge difference. I'm glad you brought that up because it's so important that we note that service dogs are a big difference from support dogs. I love support dogs. The other thing people don't realize that 40% of the dogs that are raised to be service dogs trained don't make it. So because whatever, they're better at sniffing, you know, gunpowder, and they go to a police department for finding, gunpowder. You know what I mean? So to do 20 or 30 commands and have the right attitude, just like humans, right? We all have different traits. So yeah, it's a big difference. It's amazing to see them at work. They're devoted to their owners, and the other reason we have the two partner organizations that we use is these service dogs last. They get tired because they're working a lot, so they last anywhere from 8 to 10 years, and then they normally retire them, but they get replaced with another service dog. So the recipients have the service dog as long as they need them, which is usually a lifetime. So they replace them with a new dog, and the dog that sort of worn out from working hard usually stays with the family because they want the pet and they don't want to give the dog up, and so they end up with two dogs, which is great. So, but they're amazing
Completely
animals. Yeah.
completely understand wanting to keep the dog that even after they retire. And you kind of stole my fun question for the end. So generally at the end of the podcast, we do generally have like one fun question, but I'll ask it now since you brought up not all the service dogs end up being the service dog for the veterans. We have a friend actually that her and her family train service dogs, and she has had multiple that were too scrawny to wear the vest, so they did not pass. So she has ended up keeping the dogs. So I'm curious on your guys' end, how many times with your partner organizations since you've been in business since 2023, where the service dog technically didn't get to the level that it needed to be to go to a veteran.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So a side note to that is one of our friends actually has trained the puppies because it takes 12 to 18 months to train them properly. And they'll train the puppies for all that time, and they get connected with them, and then they take them to the breeder, the organization that raises them after that to trains them. And they say, well, sorry, your dog didn't make the cut. So now they're all devastated, right? Because they spent all this time uh, raising them and treating, taking care of them and training them, and then they didn't make it. So that's disappointing. So to answer your question further, what normally happens is when they get the recipients that meets our specialized mission, they go for the training, and one of our partner schools actually sends in three different dogs to the person, and they find out which one connects the quickest to that recipient, and then that's the one that the recipient will keep. So the other two go back and wait for the next person and see if they connect with them. And we unfortunately we heard we've had a lot of dogs too. Unfortunately, we heard that sometimes the dog waits a year or so after it's already trained to get placed because they wanted a perfect match, right, with the recipient. So sometimes it doesn't work out. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's 40% of them don't actually make it completely to a highly trained service dog.
I have a simple one for you. Did you grow up with dogs?
I did not. My wife Linda did, but I had dogs as soon as we got married. we, we had dogs from the beginning, so we've had a lot of dogs, and they're a lot of fun. And our son that we lost, unfortunately, he had a pet dog, um, Lucy, who was a standard poodle, and supposedly it was a bred from I can't remember the show right now that they were on TV all the time. But anyway, Lucy's still going strong, and we're still in touch with our daughter-in-law from our son Joseph. She also lives in Florida. So, but yeah, Linda, my wife, she had dogs from early age. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Banko and I are both dog people, as he said earlier. I've got one of mine sitting behind me on the couch back here, and I've heard him licking his paws throughout the episode. So if you've caught me turning, being like, what's going on? It's just because I'm trying to give him that parent death glare to stop eating his paws. Because I'm putting so much money into these vet bills to try to take care of these allergies, and I just want it to work.
Yeah,
So
no, I
that's a
gotcha.
little look into what's going on our side of things. But so kind of bringing us back maybe into the serious end of conversation. Of course, I wanted to know what the actual background was with dogs for you. Now, let's flip this a little bit to kind of the business and operations discussion, if that's all right. What
Sure.
is, I guess you highlighted a misstep early on, like you weren't fully prepared or you didn't necessarily have all your ducks in a row with something as simple as an envelope for checks. What are some of the largest improvements that you feel you've made in your short time of full operation? And then where do you think you can go? Like what is the next evolution? Not so much for service dogs in general, but specifically for your nonprofit.
Yeah. So we hopefully we feel like we're getting better at each event. So some of the things we've done is we acquired a Square, which is an easy way to tap your credit card to. We also have online at SDSLHope.org, we have a way to pay through our webpage. That's helped a lot. We also love to get checks in the mail. We still go to the PO box and pick up the checks, which is really nice. Um, and we also have been fortunate, Adam, that we received a couple different grants. One was with a group called Mission Mavericks. They're down here in Florida, and they are a group of PR people that want to help nonprofits at pro bono. So they helped us a tremendous amount. They got us on TV to promote what we do. Um, they've helped us with our presentation. They helped us with our wording. So that's been good. We've got a grant from Miami School of Law to help get our trademark registered, which we did. So we registered our trademark, our Be a
Congrats on that.
Lifesaver is our slogan. So that's been done. So just reaching out to the community and doing events. We're going to be at Cars and Coffee in Northport in Florida, where these exotic cars come in and they pick a charity, and we were lucky enough to be picked for September 7th in Northport, and then we're doing September 13th at UTC Mall in Sarasota, and there's hundreds of last week I think it was 450 uh, really cool looking cars and motorcycles, and people come to view them. It's free to get in, but the people that bring the cars have to pay a little bit, and that's how we raise money for our charity. So my big goal is, and it takes a tremendous amount of time and energy, is to be able to give away 5 to 10 service dogs each year. So their average cost is 25,000. So, it's 250 grand for 10 service dogs in 1 year. And the reason is the need is so great that we want to help stop the pain before it happens. So um, that's our goal. We have to be doing things like talking to you all, which are friends. So I appreciate that. But we need to be on TV. We're trying to find celebrities to help us get the word out, because it's so hard to. There's a lot of good charities out there, and everyone has a choice of where they want to spend their money. So we think saving a life is pretty important. So uh, the service. Go back to your question about what happens to the. I think Grant asked what happens to the dogs that don't make it. So they go to Gold Star families that need a companion. Maybe they've lost someone, but they just need a companion dog. So those dogs are trained already, but not to the highest level. But they usually go to a Gold Star family, they call them. So they're always used. They're not discarded. They're always sent to a good place. Sometimes they go to police stations or hospitals. So it's all good. But I don't know if I answered your question, Adam, about where we're going in the future, but it takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of money. We do have a board. We're all volunteer. We don't take any salaries, so 100% of what we raise goes to our organization for the service. Excuse me, for the service dogs. We have an anonymous donor that helps pay for the administration costs, so we can do that. So we're not a huge nonprofit that has big salaries or anything, and we're all volunteer. And we're looking for
That's
ambassadors in every state to help us with different fundraising ideas and community events.
absolutely no, that makes a lot of sense. Adam, I am going to bring it back to dogs, and then I do have a business question after that. But Paul, you mentioned earlier that the Labradors that you guys use are specifically bred to be service dogs and for this purpose. I'm not sure if this is on you guys or one of the partners that you work with. How do they know? How do they ensure that these Labradors are appropriate, or like they are genetically DNA for training to be these service dogs?
Yeah, so they do that. They do the DNA. One of our partners has a beautiful facility where it looks like a hospital. When we first went to visit them, we had to put on boots and step in a solution so we wouldn't. We were going to see the puppies, so we wouldn't spread any disease or anything in the room. Um, and the other partner organization, they have breeders that they've used before in other states, so they know the dogs and how they react. Once they're born, then they test them to see how they are. They're healthy. It's a long process. It's 12 or 18 months of training, researching. Um, they used to use golden retrievers and labs. They crossbred them for a while. So it's a combination. It just seems like for these two organizations and other ones that we've talked to, that the Labradors seem to have the strength and they like to work and they can learn quickly. So that's how that works, and it's a long process. It's very intense, and it's pretty cool to watch. So actually, Linda took the high school that we did the mental health program with in Sarasota. Took a busload of the kids there to see all the puppies and how they're raised, and some of the training they go through. It was pretty cool. So
Any trip to go see puppies is a great trip, so I fully support that. Getting back to the serious business side and sort of how you guys started this, was Service Dog Saving Lives your first crack or first endeavor of doing something, starting something, or were there other ideas that you and your wife Linda had before founding this charity?
yeah, no, that's the first one we did for charity. I had my own business for 27 years, but to be honest with you, this is harder than running a business because, every day you wake up and you're trying to save a life and find a way to reach people. So, but no, like I said earlier, we did a lot of research on how we could make the biggest impact because the need was so great. When we first started, one of our partner organizations, they had a 300 backlog of people they needed to get dogs to, and so that's gone down. Um, but that's the first time we ventured in. We did a lot of talking to different people about the name of our organization. Our logo is pretty cool. If you go to SDSL hope.org, you'll see our logo. It's got like a life preserver with a lab holding it in its mouth. So it's pretty cool. It took time, and then it took time to have it trademarked and registered, and so yeah, it's not for the light of heart. You have to be really committed to doing this if you want to have it. Most nonprofits don't make it to 3 years. So it's sort of like a business. Most businesses don't make it past 3 years. So you have to be really organized, really passionate, willing to ask people for money, which Lynn and I wasn't our thing. We weren't out there, talking on TV before this or anything. So it's a whole new ball game. Nonprofit world is completely different than the standard work day. So, but it's been very rewarding. The response we get from the recipients and how it changed their lives, saved their families has been really rewarding, and just gives us more enthusiasm to go out and do more and try to get more dogs and save more lives.
Along those lines, I have your website pulled up in the background here. I see you are a little past halfway for your 2025 goal. It looks like you're trying to raise 98K and you are a little over 51K right now in money raised. At least that's what we're seeing publicly on the website. So hopefully there's more coming in as we're a little past halfway into the year. But
Yep.
what what or how can you scale over time? I imagine that's extremely difficult. You mentioned that you're trying to place 5 to 10 dogs a year. A significant investment goes into the training, the education, as we've hit on already. So it's not that it's the easiest thing to take 5 to 10 and go to 10 to 20 or get to 30, 40 dogs. Is is there a path in your mind right now to scale, or is that something that you even want to take on? Because even just making a small difference is a difference, and that's awesome at the end of the day.
Right. That's really good. So one of our ambassadors quotes is every life lived is a life saved. So you're right. When we did the first dog, we knew we made a difference. but to scale it is the hard part. So, we can do different events, which is good, and we want to do them, and we want to do them in other states because we wanted the word to spread. But it's a good thing you can't see the floor around me because I've got stacks of stacks of folders of people we're trying to reach. So, we do try to get grants from foundations. We are trying to partner with people that have product that will support us. So we're working on something right now that someone has a product that it's in a lot of different locations that'll say we support service dog saving lives. So people will see our name and they'll go to our webpage and donate. We're trying to get celebrities, a celebrity or multiple celebrities to help us spread the word because, Linda and I are so sort of retired and we're not as in tune to social media, getting a lot of followers. We need people to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, so forth, so we can spread the word. So to do, you're right, to do 5 to 10 dogs is not only a big investment in money and time. Um, I don't know if we can do 30 or 40, if we've got the energy ourselves to do 30 and 40. That's why we need others to help us. So we're looking for volunteers. We just added another board member the other day who's younger, like you guys, that can spread the word because the young people are enthusiastic. They understand mental health. They understand the stigma that's associated with it, and they want to do good. I mean, you guys are trying to do good with your podcast. You're talking to a lot of people, you're spreading the word, and that's wonderful. So we need people like you all to help us spread the word with your friends, family, work. Where eventually we would like to get a corporation that will have an employee giving program that instead of giving to, I don't want to knock out United Way, but just use them as an example. They could give the service dog saving lives through their paycheck every month or week. Even if it's $10 or $2, we don't care. Whatever more people we can reach, more funds that we can get, the more lives we can save. So I don't think we'll be. I told Linda this that I want to give away 100 dogs before I'm not around. So that's that'll take a while, but that's my mission to give away 100 dogs because I think that's a big impact. Um, I'm competitive in the sense that I don't want to just do a little bit. I want to help a lot of people. So that's where I got that 100 number from. So, and I hope I think we'll reach it. We're just going to have to work harder.
That's awesome, Paul. And I am curious, since starting in 2023, kind of two-part question. What has been easier than you expected it to be since starting the charity? And what has been harder since starting the charity than you expected?
Yeah. So I think this is sort of contradict to what I just said, but I've been so pleased at how generous people are. I mean, just in our community here, Delaware, wherever we go, people are really generous. They're really thoughtful. They're really, passionate about trying to help other people. So that's been a really nice surprise. Um, some of the disappointment has come from the bigger organizations where you can get bigger funds, bigger foundations, that it seems like they want to give mostly to big organizations. They want to give their money to big organizations because maybe the bigger organizations can make a bigger impact. And that sort of hurts our feelings because we don't take any salaries. The bigger nonprofits have big salaries for their employees and the presidents and so forth. So that's been a little disappointing that we can't get help from them. We've had some, but we haven't had enough. So Um, I guess it's easier for them looking from a business standpoint. We'll just give to the same people we gave to last year. We'll cut them a check like we do every year versus helping somebody else. But part of that is you have to go through several year period where they won't give to you anyway because they want to make sure you actually make it. So we made it, and so maybe that'll open up some. But if there's any foundations or businesses out there listening to you today, we welcome any help that we can get from you all. But that was probably the hardest challenge is getting money from bigger foundations. So bigger companies. We send out a lot of letters, we call, but it's like, being in business, you have to keep pushing till you get through. So I'm sure both of you all find that in your daily lives. So, but we're willing to do that. We're willing to do the work, and we know the end result is powerful.
You've talked about trying to attract celebrities or people with some sort of status just to help get the word out there. Obviously, that goes such a long way when it comes to anything nonprofit oriented. Are there specific people or events that their involvement or that specific environment has led to a lot of success or a nice bump for you guys, or is that still kind of a tail that you're chasing?
Yeah, it's a tail we're chasing. You know, when you have a nonprofit, and since I'm competitive, I'll see something. I'll give you an example. I had a company in mind that I wanted to approach, and they were on my list for about 6 months. I was watching them and see they have a product. They're made in America, and one day it pops up on Facebook that another nonprofit grabbed them. So I'm like, I couldn't physically get to that part because Lynn and I are doing so many other things. Like I said, I got a whole stack of names of people, like performers that are passionate about nonprofits or passionate about dogs or passionate about veterans and first responders. And we just don't have enough help to get to these people. So we have not gotten anyone yet. I'd love somebody to do a concert for us or uh, a business that would. We've been lucky that we've had some businesses sponsor some events for us, help with the food or the event itself, donate things to us to auction off. But we really need, you know, one person or one business to get on YouTube or Instagram and say, please look at Service Dogs Saving Lives. Go to SDSLHope.org and see what they're all about. We support them. They're doing good things. Can you help them out? That's huge for us. We just need a lot more exposure. So, but that's every nonprofit's problem. So, getting exposure, getting on TV, getting a celebrity, because you mentioned it, we need a lot of money to save a lot of lives. So that's what it takes. So
And
we're hoping
Paul, we
someone will hear us. Yeah.
no, absolutely, absolutely, and hopefully this gets the message out for you guys. I do want to just check in. We have about 15 minutes left, and I don't want to miss anything from your end on what you want to cover. So is there anything that we haven't touched on that you feel like we should dive in into the last 10, 15 minutes here?
Yeah, take the
Yeah.
reins,
Thank you.
Paul.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all again for having me on. This is very important work that we're doing. Saving lives is not easy. Um, you're dealing with a very delicate individual that needs help. And it's been proven that a service dog is a tool to help save a life. And that's my biggest thing to get across that we're raising funds to save lives. And I just don't want people to go through the same pain that Linda and I went through. So that's what we're doing. That's why we're doing what we're doing. And the response has been great, uh, but you never have enough to change a life. So that's really what we're doing is trying to save lives, and they appreciate it.
I want to switch gears ever so slightly, but I promise there's a connection to the answer you just gave. This isn't a complete 180. You're, of course, deeply passionate about the work you do. You have an emotional, physical connection to it based on your own experiences and the loss of Joseph. What would you recommend to someone else who has a passion, who wants to create, whether it's a nonprofit or just pursue a venture? How would you recommend they get started?
Yeah. So we spoke to a lot of people. We tried to find people that were involved in other volunteer work, who maybe had a nonprofit already. Um, and we just met with them. That's why it took us a while to really get going. Even though we formed it in the fall of 2022, we spent 6 months just talking to people to see what worked for them, what didn't work, who to reach out to, how do you get, funding. That would be the first thing I would recommend to anyone that's trying to start a nonprofit is talk to tons of people. I would also make sure that your mission is clear and that you don't waver. I mean, we get uh, calls or emails about helping other people that not really in our specialized lane. So we're real passionate about keeping it in our specialized lane of self-harming tendencies, trying to help people like that. So I would also talk to your bank and get set up there right away. It takes a long time to get, if you want to get your name trademarked, and it can be expensive. We were fortunate enough to get a grant for that. And it normally takes year and a half to get that through. We were able to get it done quicker because of our relationship with Miami School of Law. But I would do that. I would make sure that you interview a lot of people if you want to start a web page, which everybody needs today. We were fortunate again to find someone that was very passionate about what we do, who's good with nonprofits. So she helped us a tremendous amount. So that's another thing I would do. And I would also be very careful of who you partner with. Um, you've got to research them completely because your name's out there on the line. So you don't want to partner with someone that has some issues. And we had an instance where someone wanted to do an event for us in South Carolina. They had a very good mission, but they took our logo off of our webpage before asking us and started to promote what they were going to do with our name. They were going to raise money for us, but we had to eventually tell them that that's not a good idea. So, you have to be really careful who you partner with. You have to be really careful if you're going to get a board, which you need if you're going to be a 501c3, that the people are really invested. We have ambassadors that are in different states that try to help us. So again, everyone has to have the same message of your cause, what you're doing, and how you're going about doing it. So that would be what I would recommend. And I'd also recommend being in really good shape because you're not going to get any sleep.
That's good advice. Thank
So,
you for sharing. Uh,
yeah.
Banko, I think, hit on it quickly offline. I am a bit of an entrepreneur myself, so I'll just echo a lot of the things that you said. And if you don't have unwavering passion, the chances that you're going to make it are very slim. If you are going to start something, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and create something out of thin air, you better love it because it will
Yeah.
eat at you every single day in the best way possible if you do love it. But it will, for me, take all my hair away. For you, turn your hair gray.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you got to be all in, as they say, and you can't, you're going to get a lot of bumps, a lot of knockdowns, but you know, after that, you get two or three good things happen to you. So you just got to be positive all the time and keep pushing.
Banko, are we in fun territory?
I was gonna get to that, yes,
I
but I
saw
wanted to
that
let I,
face.
I wanted to let you run because you were running with some final questions.
No, no, I'm all good. I saw that face, I saw that smile, and I actually started thinking of what my fun question was going to be. I know you dropped one earlier. I don't know if you have another that you feel prepared to throw at
I
Paul right now.
did think of another one. So Paul, you mentioned once getting married to Linda, you guys have had dogs basically your whole marriage. What dog breeds have you guys had throughout your life?
Yeah. So we had a beagle, which our youngest son loved. Uh, she slept in his bed. We had a Springer Spaniel, and we had a mutt.
Hmm.
So we now live in a condo because we're retired and there's a weight limit, so we can't have a 70-pound lab in our condo. So, but we raise money for a lot of dogs, and we're around them a lot. So that's what we do now. And be honest with you, we're so busy. I don't know. It wouldn't be fair to the dog because we couldn't take it out and play with it like we used to and run around. And so it's all good. But yeah, we've been around a lot of different dogs. So Linda had poodles when she was young. So it's all good.
That's what I keep telling myself for not getting a dog is I would feel awful leaving my dog in an apartment while I'm at my office and it would not get enough attention. So I do not currently have a dog. I just take care of my friends' dogs when they go travel.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, that's good. Excellent.
And I have my two pit bulls. Like I said, one's behind me right now, and I think the other is cuddled up with my wife somewhere. But now, my fun question, it does still have some serious ties because earlier in the episode you mentioned how golf actually helped you feel kind of save your life and reinvigorate you in a sense to find this sense of belonging. Uh, I would love to know your favorite course you've ever played, and then follow that up with what your dream foursome would be.
Oh. So far it's Kiowa Island, the ocean course, where they had the
Yeah,
Ryder Cup, which is not too far from you.
exactly. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Yeah. So I love that. It was a great experience. It was unfortunately in August, I think. It was really hot, but it was
Rough
wonderful
time to
having a
play it.
caddy. Yeah, yeah, I play it anytime. So that would be it. Dream foursome. Wow. Well, because Schiffler's hot right now, I guess he would be on there. Um,
And it doesn't have to be golfers. It can be anybody from any walk of life.
oh, oh, that's interesting. Um,
And they don't
well,
have
let
to
me.
be alive either
Yeah,
currently.
Yeah.
anybody.
Well, in that case, Bobby Jones. I'd love to play with him. Although I like Ben Hogan, I don't think I want to play around with him. Um, I would like to play with Lee Trevino just to find out if he ever stops talking. So, and since he's such a great ball striker, I'd just like to watch him. Of course, he's 83 or 4, whatever he is now. But who else? Did I get 4 yet?
Yeah, well, if you're still including Scotty, because that puts you at Scotty, Hogan, and Trevino, which is a pretty solid group. And you're
Yeah, I
just there
think
to
that would be
putt,
it.
right?
Exactly. Watch, learn, and putt. Exactly. Yeah, that would be a good group to hang out with for a day. Yeah. So I grew up near a congressional golf course in Maryland, but I think Kiowa Island's much cooler.
Hmm.
So
A great answer there. That was an awesome one. I always like to know where people's heads are at, and the fact that you answered with three golfers, you're married to the game. Hey, I didn't know what kind of golfer we were dealing with, but the fact that your dream foursome has three people that are three of the best golfers to ever play, yeah, we've got a dimple head on our hands right here.
well, we love to play with you all anytime.
We'll find a way. I can guarantee
Okay.
that we'll find a way.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'll connect with Ray and we'll figure it out and get something at some point. I'm not too far away, and hopefully Adam soon is not going to be too far away, but we'll see.
Okay. Awesome.
I did
But
just get
Awesome.
my stroller caddy. That was my birthday present, actually. I forget. I think that was from my mom. Yeah, my parents got me Paul. My wife and I are due with a baby girl in late August, and
Oh,
my birthday gift from my parents was a stroller caddy. So you attach it to the back of the stroller, and it's got slots for all your clubs. So I
really?
can still be walking the course with baby girl along the way with me.
Congratulations. That's so cool. I haven't seen one of those yet. Of course, I'm out of the baby game, but uh, that's so cool. I did want to give one shout out to Rough and Ready because they were our provider of our web page, and Michelle Green is the owner, and I want to give a shout out to her because she's been awesome. Everything we've done from the beginning, she's been behind us 100%. But I really
Yeah,
absolutely, Paul,
appreciate y'all's time.
of
thank you for
course.
joining us as well. You want to shout out? You've mentioned your website a couple times. We'll definitely put that in the show notes. Social medias, handles, anything else that you wanna highlight, so people can find you guys, get in touch with you guys.
Yeah. So our webpage is sdslhope.org. And if they want to send us an email, they can email it at info@sdslhope.org. Um, Obviously, when they go to the webpage, they can connect to Instagram and Facebook right there. And we need a bunch of more followers to spread the word. So we appreciate that. And if anyone has any ideas about a business or a celebrity or a friend that they know that's passionate about what we're doing or like to learn more about what we're doing, please get in contact with us. My personal email is paul at sdslhope.org, and we'll get right back to you. And I really appreciate both of you all sharing this time with me and let me talk about service dog saving lives.
Of course, it was a pleasure. I learned a ton in the process and anything to help get the message out there. So, Paul, thanks a ton once again. Everybody listen to Banko's outro. If you guys want to get in touch with us, just listen to that note that he'll have for you. We have our email, we have our socials. And until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Grant here. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you could like, share, and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you think you or someone you know has a good life story to tell, we are always open to guest suggestions. You can send those suggestions to our email, tworkpod@gmail.com. Thanks again for the support.